Hi guys, welcome to my review of Cars 3 Driven to Win, which was played on the PS4. Now, this is my first official video review I've ever done, so I'm a bit nervous and excited at the same time. I've done written reviews for other games such as Horizon Zero Dawn and Mass Effect Andromeda, so hopefully I can give you some insight about the game and to help you decide if you were on the fence about picking this game up. Cars 3 Driven to Win is the movie tie-in game for the third Cars movie coming out on June 16th. You can pick the game up before the movie comes out on June 13th, and it's a full price game of your regional equivalent value. Here in Canada, it's $79.99, which is a bit pricey. So, does the game have enough content to warrant a full price tag? Is the game as good as its predecessor, Cars 2, which actually was a surprisingly good game? Overall, is the game any good to play? And it all comes down to the fun factor. Is the game fun to play? Well, let's take a look. First, the visuals. The game follows the movie's art style with slick car models, vibrant environments, and many assets lifted from the movie. Now, the movies will always have a superior graphical fidelity because more care is put into every aspect of every frame. Still, the game has done well to capture the feel of the movie while also looking and performing really well on the PS4. With assets coming straight from Pixar, the game looks stunning at times, with neon colors flying through the screen left and right. It's almost as if they wanted to cause epilepsy, as the visuals are quite dazzling and vibrant. Obviously, the footage you're seeing on the video doesn't fully convey the message, as YouTube does compress the quality of the video. But I'm telling you guys, the visuals are the first thing I notice about the game. I really like the way things popped on the screen, and I'm sure many of you will feel the same. In terms of audio, this is where the game is a hit or a miss. There are 22 characters in the game, and many of them have different voice actors from, that's what showed in the movie. If you're directly coming into the game from watching any of the movies or coming from previous games, it's going to be feeling a little jarring for you. Some voices are especially bad, and the one that stood out for me the most was Ramon. Here's an example.
That's right, Ramon is in the house.
Yeah, that was something else, let me tell you that. Many of you will have characters that you cherish and hold dear to you. Well, you might hate what they have done to their voices because it's not pretty to say the least. The other sounds are pretty decent. When racing, the car engines all sound slightly different depending on the car you choose, but when you go into turbo mode, it's like emptying a magazine of a submachine gun. It just sounds awkward. Depending on the stage, there will be a diverse array of sounds, but most of the shouting coming from the fans watching the race will always sound the same. It would have been nice if they had a couple different sounds that could have been cycled throughout the race. The music is nothing spectacular and is pretty serviceable. It's nothing that will turn you off to the game and is fine for a racing game. Overall, the audio design of the game is acceptable, but the voice acting is not pleasant at all.
Hey, beat that, man!
This is amazing!
Let's move to performance. The game held a steady frame rate throughout my time with the game, and I have clocked in about 18 hours, and I did not encounter any game-breaking glitches, freezes, or crashes. It ran buttery smooth right out of the box, which was a pleasant surprise, as there was no day one update either. I do have to mention that after coming off of sleep mode, after coming off the PS4's sleep mode, the game did suffer from valve fusing glitches, so I do advise not putting the game into sleep mode if you can. So now let's move on to the gameplay. If you played the previous car games, you should be familiar and know what to expect. It's pretty much a Mario Kart type of game where you'll be racing, drifting, shooting, performing air tricks, and pretty much defying all the laws of physics, especially the ones involving gravity and momentum, the ones that are important to us on our planet. The game has a wacky tone, which is borrowed heavily from the movies, and since this is a Disney movie related game, you pretty much have to throw logic out the window, or you're not going to enjoy the game, which does feature talking cars who act like humans at times. The game is pretty much a third-person racing game with some shooting elements, and that's all you'll be doing for the majority of it, which isn't a bad thing, as the gameplay has been refined to be smooth, with driving mechanics that's easy enough to pick up for the younger audience, and some added complexity to the mechanics for more hardcore gamers to experiment with. Just like any other Mario Kart game, the game features a turbo mechanic, It can be filled up by doing stunts such as two-wheel driving, which is performed by flicking the right analog stick up, or by driving backwards, which is performed by flicking the right analog stick down. Other ways to fill up the turbo bar includes drifting by holding circle and turning, and by also doing air tricks, which are performed by flicking the right analog stick in different directions while you are in the air. There are also gas cans and banners that appear on the stages, which you can drive through to refill the turbo meters. The turbo mechanic is essential as your opponents will use it constantly, leaving you in the dust. So people looking to beat those hard mode events with 3 stars will definitely need to optimize the way in which they fill up the turbo meters. If you have all 4 turbo meters full, then you can press the turbo button twice to go into a frenzy mode, called the Into the Zone mode. In this mode, you will be super fast for a while, and every car you run into will instantly get knocked into the side. It's definitely a mechanic that can save you during tight situations. Depending on the mode you will be playing, you can use one of the 14 weapons in the game by picking them up from random weapon boxes. The weapons are varied and each has its uses depending on the situation. You can also aim your weapon forwards or behind you by holding the left analog stick toward the direction before firing the weapon. And that pretty much covers the gameplay mechanics of the game. As mentioned before, they aren't that complex, but its ease of access is the reason why many people can easily pick up the game and enjoy it. So now let's take a look at the game modes now. First things first, let's get this out of the way. There is no story mode whatsoever, which is a huge bummer. You have a list of events to complete, and that's pretty much it. Throughout my time with the game, there were a total of 6 cutscenes. 1 in the beginning, 4 for the master level character intros, and 1 for finishing the last master level event. And that's pretty much it. This feels limited as the story modes were features in previous games. Moving on. You have race modes ranging from normal races, battle races, stunt showcases, takedown events, best lap challenges, and master level events. Normal races require you to go through the obstacles in the 21 different tracks featured in the game. Each race consists of 3 laps, and getting first is pretty much the goal here. Battle races are pretty much normal races, but will feature weapon pickups on specific points in the tracks. The goal is to use these weapons to slow down your opponents while trying to finish in first place. These races also consist of 3 laps. Stunt showcases are events in which you are required to do as many air tricks as possible and to beat the scores of the other opponents in the event. Doing different air tricks in the same jump will net you higher points, and also flying through balloons will earn additional points as well. In takedown mode, you will be running through the maps trying to destroy waves and waves of carts to try to beat the high scores. Best lap challenges are events that are like time trials, and you have to set the fastest time on the track. Lastly, master level events are events that unlock once you complete enough challenges in the game through the Hall of Fame checklist. These events are more challenging and will require all your skills to beat. It also features iconic characters from the Cars universe. There are also cup events, in which you will have to complete 3 events, and the car with the most points in the end takes the cup home. There are quite a lot of cups, resulting in quite a lot of replay value for the game. The game also features split-screen multiplayer up to 4 people. Sadly, no online multiplayer as of now. All events and cups can be done in multiplayer except the master level events. So if you have buddies, you've got a ton of content to get through with your buddies, and that's a lot of fun to have. There is no free roam mode. Instead, you have a mode called Thomas's Playground. This mode features a large map in which you can freely drive through, completing different challenges and just practicing your driving skills. You can also do multiplayer challenges here as well. Now, the entire game revolves around this concept called the Hall of Fame, which is just a checklist of challenges to complete in the game. Completing challenges unlocks new stages, events, characters, and custom parts such as horns, lighting, etc. There are a whopping 136 of them, and they are pretty diverse. There's a whole column for split-screen multiplayer. Yeah, I didn't have anyone that I knew skilled enough to come over and help me complete these challenges. Now, I'm not saying my friends aren't skilled enough to complete them, but their timing didn't coincide with mine. I know the review seems premature without getting all the challenges and unlocks, but I'm like 90% done, so yeah, you at least get the idea of how the unlock system works. In terms of characters, the roster has 22 characters, but it feels limited as many characters are missing from previous games, and just feels like that they will be introduced as DLC, which is sad to see here. There are also 21 tracks available in the game, with several returning from previous games. Again, it feels like DLC will introduce more. In terms of character customization, it's pretty limited. You can change the way your horn sounds, change the lighting effects, and change the booster lighting. And that's pretty much it really. This is less than what we got in previous games, considering we could have paint jobs and much more. Again, does DLC sound familiar at this point? Yeah. And that pretty much covers everything about the game. Now, what do I think about the game in terms of fun factor? I definitely feel like the game is fun to play with smooth performance, slick visuals, and mechanics that are easy enough to pick and play quickly by anyone. With friends, this game is even more fun, so yeah, the game is really, really fun, guys. Like, I had a total blast playing this game. But is the game worth the full price tag? I don't necessarily think so. With no story mode, no online mode, a limited roster, maps, and customization, this game feels like it's missing half the content, really. I'm sorry to say that the game feels rushed in many aspects just to coincide with the movie. Though definitely a fun game, it just doesn't have nearly enough content from its predecessors to warrant a purchase at full price. I say wait for a sale till it's like $45 to $55 in Canada, of course, and whatever your regional equivalence is. If I had to give it a score, with all things considered, the best I can give the game is a 7 out of 10. It's definitely a fun game, but with more content it would have been even more awesome and worth the asking price. For most people, it'll probably be a 6 or a 6.5, but for me, I enjoyed the game a lot and it was fun for what it was. Well, that's my take on the game, and hopefully I was able to inform you and help you in making your choice of whether to buy the game or not. This is my first review, so I might have missed a couple things here and there, but I promise to get better, and any feedback from you guys is greatly appreciated. Thanks for watching. If you guys liked or found the review useful, a like goes a long way to help me out, and consider subscribing to help the channel grow and to see more of my content, such as gameplay videos, boss videos, and trophy guide videos. Your support is always greatly appreciated, and that's it for this video. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.